As requested by one of my loyal watchers here on YouTube, we do some hand testing with the Gate Guardian deck. If you haven't watched the Gate Guardian deck profile, you definitely should do that first. The link to that video is in the description. So before we do a little bit of hand testing, of course we give it a nice shuffle. And then we're gonna see where we end up. As all decks, of course, you can end up at a very good starting hand, or you can end up at a very bad starting hand. We're gonna see what we're gonna end up. We're gonna do a few, not just one, of course. So, and one, zack and zack, alright. So, deck is shuffled. Let's take the first 5 cards. So, and let's see what we have. Okay, right off, that's not a too bad start. We have the Heavy Labyrinth Tank in our hand, 2 times the double attack Wind and Thunder, 1 Shadow Ghoul of the Labyrinth thing, the Field Spell Searcher, and 1 Kazajan. So what we're gonna do first, we're gonna first use our Shadow Ghoul of the Labyrinth. We can discard this one, and we can add to our hand 1 Labyrinth card from our deck, Labyrinth Wall card, of course. So I'm gonna discard that or to the graveyard. Search the field spell. Field spell. Where is it? I can't find it. Ah, there it is. That's the field spell. Add that to our hand. Shuffle again the deck. Right. So field spell to our hand. So and now the field spell says, monsters cannot attack in the same turn they are summoned, except monsters that have a level 5 or higher. Once per turn, during my main phase, I can put one of my Sanga of Defender, Kazajan or Suijin that is banned or that is in my hand or deck open as a permanent spell in my spell and trap zone. And at the beginning of the battle phase of my opponent, I can destroy 1 monster of my opponent with 1,600 ATK or less. Just like that at the beginning of the battle phase. So we activate the Labyrinth Wall Shadow thing in the field spell. So activate its effect. We're gonna search. We have Kazajan on the hand. So we're gonna search Suijin, for example. Or Sanga, doesn't matter. Put Sanga here, also okay. Alright. So Sanga then. Then the next what we're gonna do is the Heavy Labyrinth Tank. Heavy Labyrinth Tank says you can't just normal summon this card without tributing. Of course, a level 7 card. Level 7 card, you can just tribute it without summon it without tributing. But it cannot attack in the same turn he was normal summoned. That doesn't matter if we are in turn 1. And during our main phase, we can, same effect as the field spell, we can add 1 of our Song of the Thunder, Suijin or Kazajan that is banned in our hand or from the deck, open in our field and trap zone. And then if we control a Labyrinth Wall card, which is our field spell, we can destroy 1 monster the opponent controls. That's a non-targeting effect. Alright, so normal summon Heavy Labyrinth Tank, effect Heavy Labyrinth Tank, we have Kazajan on our hand, so we're gonna search our Suijin, and you're probably gonna see where this is end up. Where's Suijin? Suijin is there, Suijin here. Shuffle again. So that's the graveyard, that's not a card, that's graveyard deck. Alright, so Suijin is here, and now we have Kazajan also in our hand, and with that we can special summon from the extra deck. We cannot special summon Kazajan, we just put it here so that you can see it. And with that we can special summon the big Gate Guardian, the United Gate Guardian or whatever, or the Gate Guardians combined, something like that, because it says it needs Song of Defender, Kazajan, Suijin. It must be special summoned from your extra deck by banishing the monsters named here from our hand, from our field, or from our grave. Very nice. So we're gonna banish Kazajan, Suijin, and Song of the Thunder. Let's say that's the banish zone here because we have a bit of limited space here. And we're gonna summon the Gate Guardians Combined. So, and Gate Guardians Combined says now, basically any effect that targets anything on your side of the field can be negated through Gate Guardians Combined up to 3 times per turn. So, for example, he activates 3 times Infinite Impermanence. You can negate 3 times Infinite Impermanence because Infinite Impermanence targets a card or a monster. And also the same thing with many other cards. So 3 times negate for any targeting effect, and 3,750 ATK. And the last 2 remaining cards we have on our hand is Double Attack, Wind and Thunder, also very nice. If we control a Gate Guardian monster, obviously, we can target 1 card on the field and destroy it. And during our main phase, we can banish this card from our grave, and we can add to our hand 1 of our banished Song of the Thunder, Kasachin or Suijin. Yeah, that's sadly once per turn. But yeah, or from our deck. Not only the banished one, but also from our deck. So last thing we do in our turn, we set those 2 face down, and then we pass turn. So basically we have now, also this is also a very nice effect, because if a monster attacks one of your monsters, we can banish this card from our graveyard and then just destroy that monster. It's also a non-targeting effect, just like that, but also once per turn only, of course. So then we pass turn, and if you're gonna play on in the next turn, it's pretty, maybe for example we use that one to destroy anything, or we use both, for example, for to add this for disruption for our opponent, so we use both of them. And then it's our turn again, so we draw Dogmatika for release, where we could potentially special summon it because we control a special summon monster from the extra deck, but we don't need that now. The usual procedure now is to activate again Labyrinth Wall Shadow. We can place 1 of the Kasachin, Suijin or Song of the Thunder, which is banished or from the deck, up to our open in our spell and trap zone. So we're gonna add Kasachin back through a field spell, then activate Labyrinth Pencil again, Labyrinth Tank, sorry, it was German, same effect as the field spell, so we're gonna add Suijin back in our field spell, and we can also banish that to add our hand from the banished Sanga, Suijin or Kasachin, or from the deck. We do from the deck. Why do we do from the deck? I'm gonna say something about that right after I found the last remaining Sanga. There it is. So why we do this from the deck? Try to always keep at least 1 Gate Guardian piece in the banished zone, because if this goes to our hand, because if the smaller Gate Guardian fusions get destroyed, you can special summon 1 of the Gate Guardian pieces that are banished to your field. And if, of course, if you have no in the banished zone, then you can't use the effect if they get destroyed. So, and the next thing is we're gonna banish these 2 again, and we're gonna special summon the Gate Guardian of Wind and Water. And this is also probably one of the best. So these two are the best Gate Guardian fusions. This does negate up to 2 times per turn for any spell or trap card or effect. So even permanent spells the effect of permanent spells, if they activate it again, can be negated by this one. And of course, something like evenly matched or something like that. And with that, you're pretty much set, you know. You have these 2 in the end now. Yeah, and then go on. Alright. So, first test hand. Let's do this again. Let's see where we end up now. Because only 1 hand testing is not enough to give you a proper look if this deck is good or not. So, nope. Quick shuffle again. So I haven't seen much of the Dogmatika cards now, but it always, of course, depends what you draw on the beginning. We also can go second if you want with 6 cards. Can try that. Going second is usually a little bit harder because the opponent has most of the time some negates, but say we go in second, okay, with 6 cards. So this would be our first 5 cards if we would go first. Alright, 2 Guardian pieces already here. Fusion deployment, very nice. Again, our field spell and that destruction effect. And if we would going second, our 6 card would again the quick spell, so very nice. Same thing as before. We're gonna activate our field spell, activate the field spell's effect. Song of the Thunder, and the spell and trap zone as a permanent spell card. We could do 2 things now. We could go in 2 of the small. No, we can't. No, that's not possible. Sorry, that was my fault. That's not possible. Let's go in a big one. Let's go in a big one again with the 3 gate golden pieces, of course. The big one. Because why is that not possible? Why do we say that's not possible? Because he's the only one that says you can use the gate golden pieces from your hand or graveyard. Alright, he's the only one. All the other gate golden pieces, to summon them, you have to control the named monsters on the field, or they have to be on the field, either as a monster or as a permanent spell. Only the big guy can be summoned like that we did right now. Fusion deployment is a little bit of useless right now. So again, we're gonna set 2 cards face down, and we're gonna pass turn. And then whatever happens, I don't know. We're gonna draw again. We're gonna draw a Kazajan, so that's not too bad. We could now, yeah, let's do that. We do a fusion deployment. Goes to the grave. Fusion deployment target is the Gate Guardian Wind and Water. Kazajan is on our hand, so we're gonna take the Suijin, special summon Suijin. Now we're locked into fusion plays, but that's not a thing because all the Gate Guardian pieces are fusion monsters. Then activate Labyrinth, the field spell again to Kazajan back into the open as a permanent spell, and then we have these 2 on the field, so we can banish these 2 again. To special summon of our Gate Guardian of Wind and Water, and we have still the Kazajan in our hand. Maybe we need that someday, or not. Alright, so much to that. And again, you have those 2. Of course, I have no opponent now. Don't forget that. It's a lot easier if no one's interrupted that, you know. It's just to show what could be potentially possible if no one interrupts you in your place. Of course, you know, it's all very theoretical. Don't get the false impression of that now. That it seems, oh my god, that's so strong. Of course, 1 Ash Blossom or something like that can make a difference, of course. Let's do a last one. Otherwise the video would go too long. Last hand testing. Maybe we get a bad starting hand, because that of course can happen. It's very impressive that we didn't get any Dogmatika card yet at our starting hand. So again, 5, what? Wait, do that. Alright, so 5 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Again, 5 cards, and okay, at least we have now one Dogmatika card. So again, you see we have Suijin and Song of the Thunder. We're gonna play Fusion Deployment. Fusion Deployment target is of the extra deck the Big Gate Guardian. We have in our hand Song of the Thunder and Suijin, so we're gonna special summon Kazajan. Always feel like a Japanese when I special summon the Gate Guardian pieces. Kazajan, Suijin. I'm sorry, don't want to offend anyone. It's just, you know, that's how they would say it in the anime. Alright, we have all the 3 Gate Guardian pieces, so we're gonna know what's happened now. Gonna banish the 3. Special summon the Gate Guardian, the big one. So, and then, just because we can, we're gonna special summon Dogmatika Ecclesia. Effect Ecclesia, search any Dogmatika card. We're gonna take, of course, the best Dogmatika card, Dogmatika Matrix. So, and if now Okay, these are vanished. This is the grave, that's the deck. If the opponent now controls a monster, that would be very nice, because then we could activate Dogmatika Matrix, and if he controls a monster, we can first add to our hand a Dogmatika Ritual monster or a Dogmatika Ritual spell, and if the opponent controls a monster, we can add additionally any Dogmatika card from our deck to hand we want. But of course, we're gonna want the Alvasora as our Ritual monster, and as the other Dogmatika card, we wanna add to our hand Dogmatika Calamity. You know that this is only possible now if the opponent controls a monster. Okay, don't forget it. That's usually not possible in the first time. Okay, we have this on hand to activate Dogmatika Catastrophe. It's important you special summon everything you want from the extra deck before you activate any Dogmatika card, because if you do that, you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck. So don't forget that. Dogmatika Calamity to summon Dogmatika Alvasora. Via Dogmatika Calamity, we can also ritual summon Alvasora by sending level 12 Synchro or Fusion monster from our extra deck to the grave. That's why in the extra deck is the Quintet Magician. Alright, this is level 12, send it to grave and special summon Alvasora. Yeah, that's also a very broken part. Is this the English version? No, I have an English version because that text is a little bit too hard for me to translate into English via sight reading. Do we have English version? No. Oh, got that. Yeah, basically, basically this card is unaffected by all extra deck monsters, and all your Dogmatika cards, as long as he is on the field, are unaffected by extra deck monsters effects. And also, once per turn, you can activate Dogmatika Alvasora's effect, and then your opponent has to choose between he sends all fusion, he sends all fusion, synchro, exist, and link monsters he controls back to the extra deck, or for every 2 cards in his extra deck, he must send 1 card from his hand or extra deck to the graveyard. So if he have 15 cards in the extra deck, he has to send 7 cards from his hand and or his extra deck to the graveyard. Alright, and Dogmatika Matrix is a pretty similar effect. You can look at your extra deck or at your opponent's extra deck and then send 1 card from either extra deck to the graveyard. Or whatever extra deck you looked at. Okay, you can look at your extra deck and send 1 card from your deck to the graveyard, or you can look at your opponent's extra deck and send 1 card from their extra deck to their graveyard. Alright, okay, so much talking. And Fusion Deployment is the last remaining card on our hand. Yeah, so that's pretty sick now. I wanna see that because he says he's unaffected by opponent's extra deck monsters, and with the United Gate Guardians or Gate Guardians combined, if that card gets targeted by anything else, you can negate that via the Gate Guardian. So this is probably also probably a little bit of a hard board to break. Of course, if then something comes like Raigeki or something, then everyone is gone. Alright, then you probably would need the Wind of Water again. Okay, if you have Wind of Water 2, that's pretty strong. Alright, because you can negate with that up to 2 times per turn any spell or trap card. So if there's evenly matched or Raigeki or Lightning Storm or Infinite Impermanence or whatever, Infinite Impermanence you should definitely negate via the Gate Guardians Combat, because Infinite Impermanence targets. Yeah, but anything else you can negate with that. That's unaffected by mostly anything then. Yeah. So, but I guess that's enough now. I hope you got a little bit of a better insight in this deck. So I never draw too bad. Okay, we draw 6 times. 6 times, yeah, of course, 6 times. We drawed 3 times now in a row, and there was actually not that of a bad starting hand. You know, we at least we did not brick. Of course, that can happen. I would never say that this deck cannot brick, but most of the time it works. You know, it's it's possible. It's a fun deck. Don't consider that as a competitive deck or something. That's, you know, that's definitely not the case. It's a true fun deck. That's interesting hand. Now we draw the pure Dogmatika hand. Yeah, but don't forget it's a pure fun deck. All right, I hope it helped you a little bit, give you a bit of better insight into that. And my usual words, thank you very much for watching, and until next time.